Hey!
Good morning, Mr. White.
Good morning, Mrs. Angel. How are you?
I'm living the dream. It is
Living the
Friday
dream.
night. How good is Friday night as a teacher?
Friday night.
We have a special guest.
We do.
His name is Wesley Smith, more formally known as Mr. Smith. To the students, hello, Wesley.
Hello, Mr. Smith.
Miss Angel, Mr. White, how are we tonight?
We are so
Top
good.
shelf, Friday night.
Joining us from the far north of Queensland is Mr. Wesley Smith, working at Bowen State High School. So shout out to all of our Bowen State High School teachers, everyone in the far north. It's so good to have you on board. We're about to hear so much about Mr. Smith. Before we go there, I want to say a big thank you to Video Pro, who have hooked, obviously not Mr. Smith up with his equipment, is likely to run out of battery at some stage. So we're going to hold on to him for as long as we possibly can. But we sound and look good because of Video Pro, and Mr. Smith looks like he does because of his genetics. His brother's really good looking though, so
just check your Facebook feed and you can identify that.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Smith, I'm going to tell you a bit about his alumni. So he went to school at St. Martin's, which is in Carina. He went to high school at Iona College, which is in Wynnum in Brisbane. Both of those schools are in Brisbane, so hello to those people. He did his undergraduate university. He did a Bachelor of Business in Marketing at Griffith University and a graduate diploma of education at University of Queensland, currently teaching at Bowen State High School. Fun fact, Mr. Wesley Smith is also actually one of the only 0.3% of Australian teachers who are highly accomplished, just special category of teachers in Australia to identify the best and brightest. Doesn't look very bright in my camera right now, but good friend of the show, big fan of the show, actually.
Avid listener.
Could be the blurry vision.
Wesley, kick off with your favourite moment of Teachers Change Lives podcast so far out of all of your listening.
I love the fact that you're just climbing the ranks up at in our regional partners up in Malaysia, Thailand, and you're really reaching out and expanding out and touching lives in other countries, not just in Queensland and Australia, which is really good to hear. So I'd love to make a massive shout out to both our listeners in Malaysia. So I hope you're watching. Konnichiwa. Hello. And also in Taiwan, you've got a massive fan base up there. So hope you're all listening up there as well. That's very nice. So
I think,
wonderful, touching so many people's lives.
Thank you.
It's very good to hear.
Yeah, somebody should be welcome, Wes. And Chaz, can I remind you, he is a guest. Can we keep it civil, please?
We really can't. I feel like I was put on this planet to pick on Wesley Smith. He's been a previous colleague of mine, and we've often talked about the importance of colleagues and who make your work life fun and easier. And Wesley was one of those people for me at one of my previous schools at the great Springfield Central State High School. Shout out to all of our fans there. And I know that they're going to be super keen to hear all of the insightful comments that Mr. Wesley Smith has got to offer tonight.
It's great.
Yes.
Welcome,
yes.
Wes.
Yes, I agree. Thank you. Thanks for having me too. I appreciate it. I was very surprised by the call up. I'm not going to lie. I was very surprised by the call up. I assumed there was some kind of... I'm sure the short list you mentioned, I'm sure was probably about 4 or 5, and then we'll get him on. Righto.
Okay. He's been begging for this for so long, so we had to give him a shot. All right.
He'll do.
All right.
Tell us, Wes. Tell us. I want to know, how'd you get into teaching? Why teaching? Tell us the background of how you came to this wonderful profession.
It's probably similar to most mature age teachers that get into it. I didn't get in until I was 30. But throughout my 20s, I was, I wouldn't say fumbling around, but I was living overseas. I lived overseas in London in my early 20s. I graduated from my undergrad when I was 20. Moved over to London, had a bunch of jobs, partied hard, had a good time. Come back, had another job. And then I thought, well, I'll go back to London. I've got a British passport, so I'll go back and do that. And went back to London for another couple of years. And I come back and I had a sales job. So throughout my 20s, I had sales jobs and things like that because I had a marketing degree. But I got to a day. I remember the specific weekend. I said to my wife and I were heading out to a western country town, Mundubbera, visiting my wife's friend. And I said, drop me at the pub. I said, I'm thinking of a new profession. I've got to think of something because what I'm doing now is just pointless. I was selling copiers or something. No disrespect to our copier salesmen out there, but it didn't suit my personality. So I drop us at the pub, new profession. I'm thinking of one. She dropped me off at about 11. I think the cricket was on. I sat there on my own watching cricket all day. I had a few beers, and then I got picked up, and that was it. I thought teaching is it. Teaching is it. So I had to do some research. I thought about, should I do law or accounting or something like that, but none of those things suited my personality. So teaching was it. And then I realised, that ticked a lot of boxes. And the more I looked into it and the more I thought about it, perfect. Never looked back since.
So what do you love about it so much?
Best decision I've ever made. Career-wise, easily the best decision I've ever made. Been doing it 12 years now and will never change. This is it.
See, proof that good decisions can be made at pubs. Absolute proof. Good decisions can be made at pubs.
Yes, funnily enough. That was a rare instance of this situation, of that case. But I thought about it long and hard, and I thought, time's up. I've got to get it. It just didn't suit my personality, making profits for people or making money. I just didn't care about that stuff. I really just didn't care at all.
So what is it about teaching? Yeah, what is it about the teaching that suits your personality then?
Probably just the interactions with people, like the fact that it drew me to it is it's something that's actually being contributed to society, and I'm contributing something to society. That was probably the main thing. I'm contributing something to society instead of making money for somebody. I didn't care about that stuff. That's just not interesting for me. So contributing something to society and there's some kind of outcome that's benefiting people. That was the main thing.
Love it. And so what, so the reason why you got into it was for that. So what is the best part of it then?
Probably the interactions with the students. Yeah? This is going to be nasty. No, it's not nasty. It's just how I feel. Probably the worst part of teaching is dealing with the adults, I'd hate to say. Believe it or not, the worst part of teaching is dealing with the adults. The best part of teaching is dealing with the students. Dealing with the students is the best part of teaching.
I can definitely agree with that. That's definitely the best part of my day is never a meeting that I ran or a phone conversation that I had. It's I taught this class or I got to have this interaction at the start of the day. Yeah. Today in my school, we have this beautiful boy who is from the Ukraine, and he and his mum have joined our school only at the start of this year. And he has got just the most beautiful personality, and he has had lots of difficulties. He has a speech language impairment, and so he's had really significant difficulties in school. And then he's found his home here with Mastery Schools. And then, unfortunately, for a period of time, he has to go back to the Ukraine with his mum for a number of different reasons. And obviously, the Ukraine is not in a great place at all at the moment. And his mum is very distressed about having to take her boy back to the Ukraine.
Sure.
And he used his voice today to book a meeting with me, and we caught up just at the very end of his last day with us for 3 months. And he wanted to say to me how sad he was that he was leaving, and could we put a camera, could he use his laptop to do all of his lessons with us, because he doesn't want to stop learning over there because he doesn't speak the language after not being back for 6 years. And we looked at the time difference, and it's 7 hours time difference, which is the length of our school day. And so he would have to get up at 1:30 in the morning if we were going to do that. So we kind of realized that wasn't tenable. But we decided that he would, at 8:30 in the Ukraine, it is 3:30, which is the end of our school day. at Mastery School. So we've organised a couple of meetups where he's going to teams meet and from the Ukraine to talk to his class and stay connected with his class. Awesome. And there was lots of tears at the end of today, and his class gave him a beautiful send-off. And oh my goodness, just my heart. So that's these feels. Kids, that is all of the feels, all of the feels. So you don't get that in a copy job, do you, Wes?
No, you don't. No. That's the emotional stuff. You don't get that in a sales job, unfortunately. Whilst that's a fine profession, it's not for me. It's the emotional stuff of teaching. It's great.
No.
It's the emotional stuff of teaching. It's good. You see progress and you see growth. You see connections.
How wonderful is it also that you're connecting the student not just with the learning that you're providing, but also with the classmates that is in the friends that he's made. I think that's absolutely brilliant and absolutely vital in the well-being of any student.
Pretty special stuff.
Very special
and what a way to end the week and first week back for me and for Wesley. Mr. White is still on holidays, actually, Mr. Smith. So he's in Victoria, where he's on his last evening of a weekday of holidays.
Yep.
Been hitting the gym hard. How's that been going? I mean, can you give us a flex, Mr. White?
Probably not. I think it'd kill me at this point. I'm pretty sore.
Can't actually lift your arm?
I have been to the gym every day this week. It's been great, though, because I got to do the drop-offs for the kids. I've got 3 kids, and I drop Bonnie at school, and the other kids I drop to either kinder or daycare, and one of the kids in daycare for a couple of days a week. The other one's a kinder for a couple of days a week. But the eldest has been going to school every day, so I do the drop-offs and the pickups. It's been fantastic. It's been really, really good, and it's just really good to just get an understanding of the way the way my household works when I'm not here. Because usually, I leave for school at 7 in the morning, and I'm not back till 5 in the afternoon, so I miss all this. So it's really, really good to have an opportunity to be there and be part of it. I went to Bonnie, my kid in prep. Today, or foundation they call it, and she won an award today. Just shout out to Bonnie here. She won a certificate for demonstrating this term's focus value of cooperation.
Oh.
And I was there in assembly to see her receive it and go up on stage, and it was wonderful. It was so good. Yeah. So it's really good. I double clap. Yeah, I know. Sounds like after the
that would have broke the bank. That kind of production. That's holy dooly. I thought you were on a teacher's way.
It's great because I'm.
Dear.
Yes. But it's this is the sort of thing as a teacher you don't really get. You can't just take a morning off every now and then. You just can't really do it. You can't get an afternoon off. Or if you do, it's really, really difficult. And it's more work than it's worth usually. But having the opportunity to do that has been absolutely brilliant this week. It's been great. And yes, back to it on Monday, and I'm looking forward to it. And you guys have been hard at it for a week already.
We have. I've had a great first week.
Yes.
It has. It's been a smooth start. How about you, Wes?
Yeah, pretty good week, actually. It's a nice, smooth start. I've got a few senior classes, so we're straight into assessment, to be honest, which is good. But it was not...
No rest for the wicked?
No, it hasn't stopped, but it's okay. Yeah, nice positive start. It's been a good week, actually.
Good.
I want to actually share part of Wes's story is that he obviously, him and I worked together in Brisbane at Springfield Central State High School, as I said before. But one of the great things about the Education Queensland system is your ability to transfer. And so Wes made the great decision to transfer his gorgeous family, wife and 2 children, 9 and 7-year-olds, and they have moved up to Bowen, which is far north Queensland. Tell us about your decision to do that, Wes.
Well, it was just one of those things. Yeah, probably the benefits of being with EQ is the move is covered and you get a smorgasbord of schools to choose from. I had a mate that already lived up here already, and I came and visited him. And whilst it bucketed down when I came and visited him for 3 days straight, I had to try and picture the beautiful beaches through the rain clouds and the monsoonal rain that was bucketing down for 3 days. But I got a picture of it, and I said, you know what, I could probably live here. So I went back and I had a chat with my wife, Alicia, and we said, let's do it. Like, we were at Springfield for 6 years, I think, and whilst Springfield's a great spot and a great school, I just thought a little bit of a change would have been good because the kids weren't too old, so they're not in high school yet. So I thought let's just get out of our comfort zone, and it is a bit of a change. Don't get me wrong, selling into a new town does have its challenges, but the benefits certainly outweigh the challenges in terms of Bowen's a beautiful town, absolutely beautiful. Some beaches here and the fishing, and my handicap is coming down quite nicely in golf as well.
Good.
Yeah. What are you at, Wes?
It's down to 15. Down to 15.
Oh, that's good golf.
Just bought some new sticks the other week as well, and things that come yeah.
All right, that'll do.
Very good.
He does love to talk about his golfing.
All right, so let's talk about golf. I've just I've been to the driving range the last few days. I've fixed my backswing. I'm dropping my hands at the backswing and then sweeping through.
These are things I know nothing about. I've never had a lesson. I wouldn't have a clue.
Really? And you're
naturally talented.
See ball, hit ball. That's all I do.
See ball, hit ball. And you're a 15.
And then chase ball.
Chase ball?
Yes.
Not doing much chasing if it's 15. You're hitting it pretty straight.
Me and the technicalities aren't friends. Because as Sharon might know, I may overthink things at times from time to time. So if I'm overthinking a golf swing, well, that's going to be bad news. So just walk up, hit the ball.
Maybe that's where I'm going wrong.
Just
Maybe.
Just
Who
get
knows?
involved. Just do it. Do it regularly.
I'm the wrong person to ask, so that's for damn sure.
I think from the sounds of things, though, is doing it quite regularly is also really good for your golf swing as well.
Yeah. Well, what you'll find in golf, it's not regular enough, ever.
No.
Ever.
No,
it's never
no.
regular enough.
No, it's
This
not.
is true. And it's also not a quick activity. So it's good to really,
Especially,
it's a commitment is what.
Especially when you first start, that's for sure. And me at times as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bowen, beautiful part of the world. When I was up on my holidays, far north Queensland, I went a little bit further north than that, up to Mission Beach. I actually popped in to this great winery, and it's called Murdering Point Winery. And obviously, all of it.
Have we got a new sponsor that I wasn't aware of?
I don't know if they're willing.
You're taking all the.
Well, I don't know. Like Murdering Point, I don't know whether it's the right sponsor for our show, but they do a great drop. It's all fruit wines, and this particular one is a coffee liqueur, and it is spectacular. It is it's a smooth yet rich coffee liqueur of attractive deep brown colour, enticing sense of bittersweet coffee bean and roasted chestnut. I mean, I couldn't agree more.
Chestnuts.
Great drop. It is really, really, really smooth and delicious. Called Murdering Point. Who doesn't want to go there?
Tonight, that's for sure.
Gone up. I have committed to the cause this evening. Thank you, Wesley, for drawing everyone's attention to that. All right. Let's see if we can ask Wesley then. Let's hear if you've got a magical moment then. So we share magical moments, as you would know, because you know all about our show. You know that we share magical moments.
A magical moment was that plug for that winery. That was a magical moment in my view.
That was a magical moment in my recovery and preparation time. So I'm going to play the sting, and you're going to get your magical moment ready for a great moment that you have had with a student that has taught you that you know that you've made a difference. Think. Go for it, Wesley.
I have had, believe it or not, I've had a couple over the last 12 years. But one that probably sticks out with me is probably a senior that graduated, I think it was 3 years ago, a 2020 group. I don't even know, more than that maybe. Anyway, nonetheless, seniors every year write out postcards for their teachers they've had over the years. And generally, students write out postcards for the teachers they've had in year 11 and 12, which is fine. That's all good. They're teenagers. But I had a student actually write out a postcard for me, and I taught her in year 8. And one thing I always do as a teacher is when I'm walking between classes, I make a conscious effort to say hello to every student, an adult for that matter, that I see between staff room and classroom. This is one thing I do. You know, Jim, hello. Gary, hello. Shaz, but generally I'll say hello to everyone I know, and all the students as well, obviously, and I'll use their name, and I'll make a conscious effort of that. I did that. I taught a student in grade 8, and she was a great student, wonderful student, but I made sure I said hello to her every day that I saw her for the next 5 years. And then she wrote me a postcard graduating year 12 and said, Mr. Smith, I don't think you realise this, but every time you said hello to me, you absolutely you don't understand the difference you made when you said simply by saying hello to me every time you saw me. And now I don't know her personal circumstances, obviously. I don't, I have no idea. But little did I know that me just saying a simple hello to her, acknowledging her for 5 years, because I didn't teach her from grade 8 through to year 12, just me saying hello to her made a difference. Just saying hello to her actually made a difference. Just acknowledging her presence. Hi, how you going? Yeah, good. And that was it. We kept walking. That was it. Simple as that. And I thought that was probably, I've had other ones, and they're fine, don't get me wrong, but this is one that probably stood out with me a little bit, actually. Just a simple little hello. Hi, so-and-so. How you going? Good. Does it. Keep walking. And it was just a simple little thing to do, and it took me no time whatsoever, but it seemed to make a difference with this one student. And I've always made that a part of my practice anyway, from walking between classes. Hello. Use their name. Keep going.
Love it. Consciously creating a positive culture there and making sure people know that you care about them and that you see them and that you acknowledge that they're there and part of your life. Simple, but very, very, very effective.
Absolutely, it is.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things I've always done that my whole career, to be honest.
Names?
Sorry?
Do you have any techniques for remembering names?
I do for students that I teach. First thing I do, first lesson I have, there is a little bit of a lag, but first lesson I have with all my classes, whether I've taught them or not, actually I've never taught them, but we make sure that we all get in the line from start to finish. We all stand in the line, and I'm at the end of the line, but they're at the start of the line. The first kid introduces themselves and something they like, and then the second kid introduces themselves and something they like, and they have to introduce every student that is before them. So by the end of the line, I have to remember every single name and something they like. So that's the first lesson every single year.
That's good.
Every single year. Now, obviously, I don't remember every single one. Don't get me wrong, but it helps a little bit. That's all.
Yeah.
Well, so the science of learning, actually, there, Wes, says that is fabulous practice, because you need 24 to 40 repetitions of something, quality repetition. So you're not just doing a repetition, but you're linking it with something else that they like. And even if, and you couldn't possibly remember at the end after that, you remembering all of them, but then they're going to remind you, or you're going to remember the thing that they like. And that's just relationship building and great for them to bond with each other. That's beautiful. Great teaching tip.
It's a great teaching tip.
Thank you. Yeah, that was an easy one.
Writing. Yeah. Nice. Well, I mean, they don't just give out those highly accomplished. Apparently, I thought that they might have, but no. Wesley is actually
just on that. Can we hover over this for a little bit? This is a highly accomplished teacher, so it's 0.3% are highly accomplished. What did you have to do in order to be accredited as being highly accomplished, and what does that give you now? We've got this at the money signal, isn't?
Well, to do it, you have to put a portfolio together. The standards at the highly accomplished level are mostly about working with colleagues. So all 37 descriptors about working with colleagues, to, from standard 1, know the students and how to teach, through to the last standard. And
well done. Yes.
The 37.
It's about
the 37
ethics and working with parents in the community and things like that. But you've got to mostly work with colleagues, and that was the main thing. So as my role at Springfield, I had a role where it required me to work with teachers and things like that. And I did a fair bit, and I thought after a while, I better put a portfolio together, because I might as well cash in on this work that I'm actually doing, and get recognised for it as well. So I did that. It took me about 9 months to put the portfolio together, maybe 12 months. Put it together and then submitted, got approved, and then they do a couple of, you record a couple of lessons and they watch those and you get approved and you get assessed by those against the standards as well. And then, in terms of the benefit, you obviously get the recognition, which, not the main thing, but the money's good. I've got a nice little pay rise. Pays all right.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I mean, if you're making that much of an impact, then there should be, something coming back for that. And that
Well,
should be recognised in a way other than simply saying, yeah, well done, you're good at this. I think that's fair
it's
enough.
a job.
Absolutely fair enough.
It's an important job, don't get me wrong, but it's still a job, and if I can maximise my earning capacity, well, why not do that?
Sure. Absolutely right.
Whilst you're already doing the job that you were, and I'm just going to capture it in a portfolio now.
Yes.
And Wesley is, I mean, as much as I take the absolute Mickey out of him, he is a great teacher, really, really fabulous teacher, and it's in the process of bringing in these lead teachers and highly accomplished teachers, I think was absolutely fabulous across the country. So I think that was a really big step forward in education in Australia to identify our lead teachers and our highly accomplished teachers. And it's no small feat to put that portfolio together, to also, first of all, to be doing that stuff, and then to put the portfolio together. They knock back a lot of teachers. And so for Wesley to be one of those very small percentage of people who've been identified as highly accomplished is a great accolade, and a very well-deserved accolade. So to all of those other 1,200 only highly accomplished teachers around the country, I say congratulations and thank you very much for the work you're doing. And it's an even smaller percentage of an even smaller percentage of teachers who are lead teachers. So that's also another thing. That's the next step for Wes to possibly think about if he wants to move from highly accomplished to lead, and that's working at a whole school level. So highly accomplished is working with your colleagues, and then a lead teacher is working at a whole school level to move the whole school forward. Right. And so very, very exciting thing that's being done at a national level in Australia. And I'm sure our Taiwanese and our Malaysian listeners are really interested in that. And also Miguel, obviously in Spain. It's great. Hopefully you're listening as well. Frothing.
Say what?
Frothing indeed. Great. Oh, we're not there yet. Don't say what me yet, because we're going to go. I want to go to. We're about to have a wisecrack off. Anybody who listened last week would know that I was actually highly unimpressed with Mr. White's wisecrack last week.
Says more about you than it does about me.
Yes, but I did check with our producer, and he also said that it was not your best work, and I sometimes really value his opinion. So, only sometimes, only when his opinion agrees with my opinion. It's a highly valued opinion. Yeah. Thanks, Luke, by the way, for all the work that you do for the show. You're the best. And so we are going to go to a weekly wisecrack. So, Mr. Smith is going to wisecrack off with Mr. White. All right. So hands out for a paper, scissors, rock.
All right.
This is going to be interesting with the lag. Wow. I wonder who's going to change their vote. All right. Ready? Paper, scissors, rock, go.
1, 2, 3, shoot.
Oh, God. You need to go again, really. They both went scissors. Go. Really? Okay, go.
1, 2, 3, shoot.
Oh my God!
Oh. You saw and you still went paper. All right.
No, you saw.
1, 2, 3, shoot.
Honest to God, it is
all
weird.
Right, Sharon, choose someone.
Right. Yeah, just choose.
All right, Wes, you're our guest. So do you want to go first or last?
I'll go last.
Yes. Yes.
Do you want tea or coffee? Yes, please.
Yes. Love it. Sugar or no sugar? Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Whitey. All right. You're thinking first. Here we go. Whitey, wait for the sting and then you're ready to go. Let's do it.
Whitey's Weekly Wisecracks. What do you got, Mr. White?
Well,
right.
it was a couple of weeks before formal for Year 12. A very special time, and I work at a girls' school, so they take it very, very seriously. We actually give them a day or half a day off before the formal, so they can go and have their beautification things that need to be done. And they were talking about hiring a limousine, and I made the comment, "Hey, I paid $500 for a limousine for this, and I've just found out that it doesn't come with a driver." I can't believe I spent all that money and have nothing to show for it. Insert gag.
Nothing
Insert
to
laugh.
show for. Nothing to show for it. Yes!
We get our producer to edit out that silence of the tumbleweeds just rolling past. Oh, no, that was pretty good.
That was all right. No, don't worry. No, that was okay. That was all right. Must have been the lag.
Must have been the lag. Must have been the lag.
Yep. Must
No,
have been
it's
the lag.
okay.
All right.
It was a good one. I like it. I like it.
Okay.
Listen, I haven't got a wisecrack. I haven't got a wisecrack. You've got me covered.
I win.
My biggest wisecrack this week was my biggest wisecrack this week was I had to disclose to my I think it was all my senior classes. No, particularly I had a essential English class and I had a legal studies class. And I said I'm going on a podcast this week, and I went, what? And I went, and they said, what kind of teaching? What kind of podcast? And I went, a teaching podcast. And I went, what kind of loser would go on a teaching podcast? And I went, what would they invite you on a podcast anyway? A teaching podcast. And I went, well, clearly I'm a very highly effective operator. Wow. Absolutely. Everyone is in stitches and absolutely everyone lost it. There's all kinds of carry on. You're on a teaching podcast. I'm like, yeah. Well, they want to hear my opinion. 10 minutes later, we got some teaching and learning done once I've actually settled everyone down to, that's right. I'm actually going on this podcast for teaching. Absolutely lost it, a lot of them.
Nothing better than being the butt of the joke.
I know. And it nearly hurt my feelings too. I was devastated. Yeah. You should have seen it. And the confused looks, it's like, when you make a noise to a dog or something, they do this, and you're going on a teaching podcast.
What?
You?
What could you possibly say about teaching?
But as I always say, that's when you work out who gets the A and who gets the D. So the student that goes, please. I mean, clearly.
Yeah.
But the one that goes, you'd be great. A plus.
Yeah. Well, funnily enough, there'll be no A pluses, to be honest, in this situation. There'll be no A pluses.
What about the bell curve?
I'm so glad that I am not in Mr. White's class, because he always says that the kids who laugh the most get the highest marks, and
look, it's not cause and effect in that way. It just so happens to be that the ones who are intelligent enough to understand the nuance of my comedy and the subtlety of my comedy can also analyse text effectively.
Just who knew? I'm still trying to work out last week's wisecrack. Honestly, I've drawn a diagram. I've got my this point to this point
Cloud
to this
nine,
point.
it's hilarious.
It's really not. Anyway,
We won't go there again.
I do know that that Mr. Smith has got a teaching tale. Let me do the sting and then give us a teaching tale, Mr. Smith.
Well, I've got a couple. Oh.
Dun, dun, dun.
How
that was good. Yeah.
dare you,
Never
Mr.
step on the
Smith?
sting. Never step on the sting.
Sorry. Clearly very new to this podcast thing. Very new to this podcast thing.
Go for it, Mr. Smith.
Well, I had a couple. But even one occurred today, just the hilarity of being in the classroom. You're sitting there, I'm teaching, we may have had a bit of visual stimulus on the screen, and all of a sudden we hear this ruckus out the window. And it's a whole flock of seagulls going absolutely bananas. So one kid goes, check this out. And then the whole class is over to the window, and there's one ibis getting attacked. There's this one ibis getting attacked by probably about 15 seagulls. And I'm like, I better check this out myself, actually. So I was sitting there watching this ibis get absolutely smashed by these seagulls. And the seagulls are going bananas, absolutely bananas everywhere. And I'm like, and everyone's like, go ibis, go ibis. And then finally the ibis shoot him away. It got the crust and it flew away. And then it came back again. And then another kid goes, sorry, everyone had just settled down. All the nonsense had just settled down. And the same kid goes, oh, now there's a hawk circling, and everyone's back over to the window again, and the seagulls are into it, and I'm like, get back to your seats, fine, we've got to get on with this, and it's just bedlam. All over a crust, an ibis, and a flock of seagulls. That's teaching to a T. Absolutely
who wouldn't want to be in Australia, right?
I know.
I'm teaching in Australia.
I've got a better one. It's similar. We had a Year 8 assembly, I reckon, about 2 months ago. And the Year 8 coordinator, great fella, given a really good, important speech to the Year 8s about the importance of everyday counts, which is obviously very important. But then all of a sudden we hear these magpie larks at the top of the undercover area going absolutely ballistic. So I've gone... And this possum is trying to go from one beam, from one corner of the undercover area over to the other. And I'm like, oh, go, son. Hope you make it. And then I look down at the Year 8s, and the whole Year 8 cohort is sitting there just... And meanwhile, the Year 8 coordinator has given this really important speech about everyday counts. And I'm like, well, I'm back to the possum. So I'm watching the possum go across and the magpie larks going absolutely ballistic. I'm like, and then the Year 8 coordinator cottoned on, so he stopped and went. And so everyone, we've got 90 people sitting there looking at this, and then finally the possum got to the corner, and they went, hey! The possum got to the corner, and the magpie larks flew away, and back we went on to the everyday counts. It was really important. Great stuff. Welcome to teaching.
Attentional control, honestly. Yeah. And then beyond that, like the kids, they're like, their attention span is nothing. They're thinking about sex. They're thinking about, they're worried about how they look. They're worried about so much. And then there's a bloody possum and possum and magpie having an argument. Honestly. How do we get anything done?
Real world experience.
And honestly, that's what this stuff. Teachers change lives, and we're changing lives regardless of the fact that we have possums and magpies and ibises and seagulls trying to distract the attention of learning from the students, and we're still helping them learn. Honestly, miracle workers.
Well, as long as the important message of everyday counts got through, and I think eventually it did, but the possum also made it back to its nest, so it was a win for everyone. That one really was.
A winner. Everyone's a winner.
Goodness.
Yes.
That's all everybody cared about on that day.
Our job is so hard.
It really is.
Imagine competing with that.
It's impossible. It's impossible. All right, we're gonna be bringing it home strong because I know that Wes doesn't have much battery left.
No, I don't. I'm logging into it secretly another computer over here just in case I can. Maybe
just in case you're going to drop out. Excellent. All right. Whilst you do that, I'm going to push forward because I don't want to lose you. You do what you've got to do. All right. We're doing a new we're introducing a new segment today, called Say What. And because we've got Wes with us, Wes had a story that really tells us why Say What is important. These young teenagers, this is basically a community service announcement. So kids right now are using these terminologies that honestly most people do not understand. And it's happening in classrooms every day. I know parents don't understand what their kids are saying. Wes, you had an example of this.
Bet.
In your classroom. Tell me.
Bet.
No. Tell me in the classroom when you were teaching. When you were teaching.
Don't use the word effectively. Tell us what it means.
When you were teaching Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, this one. Oh, this is even better. Yeah, well, this is an acronym. This was another one. And so teaching, this would have been a good 4 or 5 years ago as well. And we're teaching Romeo and Juliet. And I said, let's do it in a contemporary fashion. Romeo and Juliet are sending some text to each other. Let's mimic that. Do some text message between the two. And this particular student is quite a character, quite a spirited fellow. And Romeo, DTF. And I'm like, what's DTF? And he told me, and I went, oh, maybe, can we consider something else, please? Can we consider something else? This possibly, aren't they underage, by the way, I might add? Aren't they a little bit young for that? They're a little bit young. No, well, you said it. I can't argue with that. It kind of captured the moment.
So
I mean, Taylor Swift said it was a love story, so
Yes, yeah.
obviously,
Wow.
obviously,
I prefer the
DT
Dire Straits version.
Down,
but yeah.
DTF, down to fornicate or something like that, I think
Down
it was.
down to fraternise. I was going to say down to fraternise. Down to be friends. Down to be friends.
look at our two English teachers here, just
riffing.
just riffing. Oh, we lost.
Oh, he's gone.
Mr. All right, we've all learnt the importance of bringing your charger home.
Yes. No, it's very
so
important. The amount of
Mr.
times
Smith-
that I tell students off before recess for their computer running out of juice. Come on.
Yeah, well, that's a teaching tip. Hey, take your laptop home and your charger, people.
Yes.
All right, so we're going to do this on our own then.
All right.
Mr. Smith did drop Bet into here.
He did.
I bet he didn't bring his charger home.
No, that's not what bet means.
Oh gosh, okay.
No, it doesn't mean a wager or gamble. It means a guarantee.
What is it? A guarantee.
Are you going to be there Friday night?
Bet.
Absolutely.
There you go. So there. You're welcome to everyone who is listening for our new community service. If your child says bet, they are agreeing with your statement.
That's right. Emphatically
agreeing with your statement. Do you have one, Mr. White?
I've got quite a few actually. I'm more up to date than I think I am. Most of mine are actually from about 5 years ago, I think. So I'm going to go with salty. I've always enjoyed the term salty. Oh, she's getting a bit salty. Or he's getting salty. I really like that one.
I'm back.
That means, Wes
welcome.
is back.
I'm back.
Welcome,
Okay.
welcome.
Sorry I lost you.
We've just actually been talking about the teaching tip that you left us with, which is teachers always take your laptop and charger home.
Yeah.
And we thank you for a clear demonstration of the requirement.
I had the laptop. I just forgot another key ingredient, which was the charger. But me and taking work home is not friends.
You
also a great example there.
You have lost any credibility when you are criticising a student for not bringing a charged device to class.
That's a fair point.
It is.
That's a fair point. I can't argue with that, to be honest. You're right.
No, and
and
you know they're going to
obviously-
listen because they can't believe that you're on a teaching podcast. So they
True. Everyone, can we have the link? Well, I'll let you know how the podcast goes first, and then you can have the link. We'll see how we go first.
So
And
you
hey,
won't be giving them the link.
If any of Wes's students are listening in, if you can just leave a comment in any of our platforms,
Yes.
just a shout out to Mr. Smith. You could leave a teaching tale from his classroom.
Oh God, don't do that.
Something that you love most about Mr. Smith and his teaching antics. We'd love to hear from you, and I know
Absolutely.
that Mr. Smith would love the feedback. So,
Me and feedback, best friends.
love it. Right, give us a salty and give us a definition and use it in a sentence, please, Mr. White, as a community service announcement.
Community service announcement. So this is probably one that we can start easy because this is a pretty well-known one. But to be salty, I always really enjoyed because it sort of makes sense. I'm an English teacher, and the word sort of makes sense to me. If you're salty about something, you're angry or you're bitter and you're upset about something. That one. What's the definition? To be bitter or cranky about something. Absolutely, and usually it's in a way that is over the top. We're a bit salty about that, are we? We're going to rub it in a bit more. Rub a bit of salt into the wound, that sort of thing. That's one that resonates with me. I like that one.
I like it. So, Mr. Smith's students might use that in a sentence by. Mr. Smith was a bit salty that we turned his computer off the other day when he left it unattended.
That's a touchy subject.
Yeah. That'll do it.
I did. Yes, I did.
Mr. Smith is a bit salty that we keep bagging him for his juice running out halfway through the podcast.
Correct. He was always... Oh, that's good. Awesome. All right. We are running out of time, and Mr. Smith's running out of battery power. So we're going to finish it up here I want to say a massive thank you to Mr. Smith for copping my abuse all evening tonight. We've been wanting to catch up online. How better to catch up and capturing it for a lifetime. And thank you to all of the highly accomplished teachers across Australia and lead teachers across Australia. Absolutely. And I really recommend, I'm sure Wes would really recommend anybody to who's working consistently with colleagues to really consider putting a portfolio together. Wes, what would be the first step if somebody knows that they are working with colleagues on a regular basis? What should they do as a first step to look into becoming a highly accomplished teacher, would you say?
I would go and speak to your principal. Go and speak to your principal, because you haven't got your support of your principal. It's going to be a tough road. So I'd get the support of your principal and probably your line manager as well, and get their support. And once you've got their support, that's the way to go. Because if you haven't got their support, it's probably going to be a little bit hard, because you've probably got to get references off them and things like that. So if you've got a good enough relationship with them, they'll probably outline that. You're probably right to go, or maybe just give it another 12 months. Here's probably a couple of things I need to see from you before then. And it might even be a good idea just to get them up to scratch on the standards as well, because I would say that not every line manager or principal, for that matter, is up to scratch on the standards. So if they need a little bit of a little bit of a refresher on the standards, I'd do that. But you need your support of your HOD and your principal. That's probably your first port of call. Right. There's a self-assessment tool that's on the E02 website. That'll give you a little bit of an indication as well. That's a good place to start. But probably you need to remember it's not the things you do, because teachers do heaps of things. It's the things you do with other colleagues. That's what you got to do. Everyone creates wonderful unit plans and lessons and that kind of stuff. That's all. That's lovely stuff. That's important. But you got to do it with other people. That's the important ingredient. So just probably keep that in mind.
Yeah, and that makes sense, because the best teachers are collaborative by nature.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the important. That's the important thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Very good.
Awesome. All right. Thank you. Great advice. So wonderful to catch up. Mr. Smith, always great to catch up with you. Mr. White.
What an honour for having me on. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Mr. White, Mr. Angel, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. I got the call up. I'm like, wow, elite company. Thank you very much. Members of Parliament, professors, principals, Wesley Smith. There we go.
Point three, teachers are highly accomplished. Don't sell yourself short.
Oh, yes.
Yes. A lot to offer. Thanks for coming on. It's been great.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's been good fun.
They're talking about the same thing right now. I can't believe I was on the same podcast as Mr. Wesley Smith from what a legend he is. And honestly, Mr. Wes has got the best laugh in the world. Nothing better than hearing him talking to a whole staffing body and hearing that laugh is spectacular. And so we will say goodbye. Thank you once again to Video Pro, as always, for not just supporting our podcast, but that obviously means they support the 80 million awesome teachers worldwide who are doing amazing work with kids every day. So great thank stuff. You to each and every one of you doing amazing things all around the world. We will see you next week. Peace out from Teachers Change Lives podcast.
Peace out.
Bye, Mr. White. Bye, Mr. Smith.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye, Mr. Smith.
Powered by Riverside.